Hi DCC, I'm Michelle Hayton. I think most of you know me, but you might not recognize me now with my longer hair and graying hair, but that's all thanks to lockdown. I'm looking forward to and thankful for the opportunity to share my testimony with you all today. I am feeling a bit nervous, so I don't enjoy being in front of a camera, so I'm going to read my testimony, so sorry about that. While reflecting on my life in preparation for today, I've been reminded of what God has done over the course of my life, even before I was completely aware of Him. I grew up in a Christian home and was blessed to have a very happy childhood. I attended Sunday school from a young age, and when I was 7 years old, I remember giving my heart to the Lord. I was confirmed at the age of 14 at the church I was attending, and I recognize that I am a sinner and how much I need Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Well, skipping a few years during my medical training and years in practice, I was daily astounded by the intricacies of God's creation. It's of course no surprise that as a doctor I'm fascinated by the working of the human body, but witnessing miraculous healings of tumors in advanced stages and assisting in the delivery of babies left me in awe of God's work. Gareth and I got married when I was 24 years old and in my final year of medicine. We had planned to start a family when I was finished studying and had worked back my student bursary, and becoming a mother was something I'd been looking forward to for many years. I held tightly to this desire, always planning to have my first child, I thought, before I turned 30. I had therefore decided not to further my studies so that I could stick to my timeline. I was very excited when I fell pregnant at the age of 29, but that was followed a few weeks later by a miscarriage, and I was devastated. It took another 3 years of investigative procedures and tests before I fell pregnant again at the age of 32. God had a different timeline than I had, and although I always knew that God was in control of my life, I still had a very tight grip on my plans. But over this difficult time, I found my faith strengthening and learned to trust in God's perfect timing. And God blessed us with three lovely daughters. Between 2005 and 2007, our family went through a difficult period. My dad was diagnosed with cancer and he passed away 18 months later. He was a loving father and medical doctor as well, and I'd gone to him for advice my whole life. He was my sounding board. It was an extraordinarily difficult time for us all, but I cannot help but feel that God physically carried us through this time as well. My own health took some strain over these years, and in 2010 I developed a number of strange symptoms. After many blood tests and a bone marrow biopsy, I was diagnosed with a blood abnormality for which I'm still being treated today. It was a challenging time. My girls were still relatively young, and Gareth had to travel a fair bit for work. But once again, this time of physical and emotional trial um, really deepened my trust in the Lord. I found so much comfort in His Word, immersing myself in biblical passages that reveal God as our comforter. God was again proving Himself to be my ever present help in trouble. And over this time, God kept showing me that I was not alone. He surrounded me with very caring and supportive people, and I even felt His presence in the MRI tunnel where I am inclined to feel very claustrophobic. In the anxious times of waiting for results, I felt His peace. And as I said before, God has shown Himself to me to be a God of miracles, but even in long and uncertain times of hardship and in the absence of miraculous healings or sudden recoveries, God is an ever present help, and I thank God for His constant faithfulness. I'm really hoping that this is an encouragement for each of you in the midst of this pandemic with all the various challenges that we are facing at the moment. Jesus understands and empathizes with our suffering, and we can cling to the truth that God has overcome the world. Thank you.